Thoughts on that? I'd like to throw Javi Baez your way. Any thoughts on that? Obviously a volatile player who just had a miserable year. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, he's among this group of players that said that, it was a big deal that they didn't have video in game. The thing that's interesting about him compared to somebody like JD Martinez, who talked about it, or Christian Yelich, who talked a little bit about wanting that in-game video they didn't have, is that Baez doesn't have natural plate discipline like those other two. He strikes out, almost 6 times more than he walks in a good season. Maybe it's 5 times. So I think I don't know how to read that. Does that mean it's even more important that he was missing that video, or does that mean he's just naturally volatile? And what I've seen about research into volatility, strikeout rate's a big part of it. So some of this might have just been the natural up and down of his career, and some of it just happened to happen in a short season.
We're going to talk about in-game video, but next. We'll do that in a second, but you just kind of teased it out there. So we'll get back to that. There's some interesting things I know that you found on that. But give me some of your top players that you think will bounce back, and start with Gleyber Torres. You believe in Gleyber?
I believe in Gleyber. One of the things that happened with him is he saw a lot of sliders early in the season. And, I think that he actually adjusted to it. What you're looking for with young players is, do they adjust when the league adjusts to them? And what he did was he didn't swing much. And so he walked a ton, and you didn't see the power numbers. But what I think you're going to see is, as he swings more, as he puts together that patience, with the dealing with the breaking balls he's seeing, I think he's going to break out. So I really see a guy who's putting together the swing, not swing, and figuring that decision out.
Rafael Devers a year ago was seen as a building superstar. That did not work out last year. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's another guy who just hit the ball extremely hard. I mean, it was a bad season for him, but in terms of how hard he hit the ball, how many barrels he hit, the StatCast stuff, it was all through the roof. So I think that there was just a little bit of, a short season, not great plate discipline, a little bit like Javi Baez in terms of walks and strikeouts. But I still see a young player who has the athletic skill, the ability to hit the ball really hard. I think he's going to break out next year.
Yeah, how much, again, moving on to the next player, because I'm even thinking now, was that just a short year that didn't count for Austin Meadows, or is he the guy that slugged like 550 the year before?
That's a really interesting one, because coming out of Pittsburgh, in the heels of this Blake Snell trade, the thing about that Chris Archer trade was that people didn't think that Meadows was actually going to tap into the power. And people didn't think that Glasnow was actually going to be able to be good. They thought he might be a reliever. So, that actually fits the Blake Snell trade, where they got these guys that people are worrying if he is going to be a catcher and so on. I kind of digress, but my point is, Meadows, they weren't sure about it. I think he showed it. He showed it in the StatCast. He showed it in the regular numbers. Last year, he just didn't have enough time to get healthy. He was just, he had the COVID situation, and then he had the oblique, and in between you saw the exit velocity trying to come back, and he just didn't have enough time to get healthy. And I think that was really the big deal.
All right, and another Meadows, again, outstanding for the Rays. How about a former Ray, Tommy Pham? Can he bounce back after, again, we're talking short season, but disappointment when he went to the Padres? Thoughts on Pham?
One of the things that makes me a little bit nervous about Pham and sort of someone like JD Martinez is that my friend Jeff Zimmerman at Fangraphs showed that projected bounce backs after the age of 32 are not as reliable. So you can look at the projections and say, oh, this guy's projected to be bounced back. JD Martinez will be fine. But once you start getting to 32, 33, 34, then you can't rely as much on those projected bounce backs. The reason I like Pham is that the reason that you might be worried about him is the eyes or the plate discipline or something. He was still an elite non-swinger, and he's a kind of a Joey Votto-esque player where he just does not swing at pitches outside the zone. So I say, get him healthy. He had the hamate bone issue. He had the other issues. Get him healthy, and the eye is still there, despite worries about his vision and stuff like that. I saw athleticism and plate discipline in a great combo last year, even through the injuries.